The city of Prosser is asking voters to decide on a bond measure that will fund a replacement for City Hall and the police station. They say it's no more than $16.8 million. Back in November, voters did not put through a bond for a new City Hall and police station after an overwhelming no vote. Now that the bond hasn't gone through, there's nothing set in stone for this project, where the facilities will go, or how it's getting paid for.
That's what we have, $4 million. We have those in the bank.
Hello everybody, my name is Christian Taylor and I'm a local resident of and business owner in Prosser, Washington. For the last few months, I've been asking the city for information regarding the handling of the insurance claim for the fire at the City Hall and police station. For those of you who don't know, here's a quick recap. In May 2021, the meat lockers in Prosser caught on fire, taking with it half of the police station and causing major damage to City Hall. The city has been trying for at least 25 years to justify a new City Hall elsewhere, claiming the existing City Hall is outdated. After the fire, the city hired consultants and presented their new proposal for the all-encompassing Prosser City Complex. Oh wait, that's a church in St. Louis, not a small-town government building. There we go, Prosser City Complex. The city put forward a bond asking for $16.8 million from the voters, and it was met with a vehement no in the November 2022 election. The complex was intended to be built on this property. Unfortunately for the city, they had already spent $1.6 million on the parcel 4 months before the election, where they would find out if they would actually be able to use it. That was passed by City Council in a 4-3 vote that went through as shown here. Since then, the city has been trying to figure out what to do, with no real solution being presented and the original City Hall being demolished by the end of the year. They hosted a community listening session back in June of this year, and it has been mentioned in the debates, but besides that, not much headway. Now, on to the weird part. The public has been told multiple times that insurance has paid out the $4.5 million that had been promised in 2021. And the answers to the community following the community listening session and during the mayoral debate in September are two that I know of. From the community listening session, funding for that remediation came from the city's insurance provider. This was in addition to the $4.5 million the city received from the fire, loss of contents and structure. Additionally, Mayor Taylor,
Insuring for that. Instead, we were insuring for $4,500. So that's what we have, $4 million, sorry. A little short. So with those proceeds, we have those in the bank.
The only problem is the city hasn't actually received that money. Specifically, they have yet to receive $2.5 million of that money. All they have actually received for the building fund is a single check for a cool $2 million. This is confirmed by Tony Yost, Finance Director, Human Resources, Risk Management, and Public Records Extraordinaire, in her August 30th, 2023 email to Insurance Adjuster Joel Booth, this handsome fella here. She states, to date, we have spent $1,997,064.18 in costs related to the rebuild of the City Hall and police station. This leaves $2,502,935.82 remaining of the $4.5 million reconstruction estimate from July 2021. On September 16th, 2022, we received $2 million from insurance to cover these costs, which leaves $2,935.82 unexpended by the city at this time. After looking into this, I asked to meet with Mayor Taylor, and this was his response. You had said in the debate that you had $4.5 million received from insurance in the bank.
Correct.
Okay, so that would have had to have been made up in that past month, because as of August 30th, there was only 3.2 that had ever been received in total.
I just know what the total is in that fund.
As of when? Because the city had only received 3.2.
I'd have to look.
Okay, so what led you to believe that it was a full $4.5 million then, if you hadn't looked at it?
Well, that's what my finance director told me is in that fund. That's what we got paid from insurance.
Okay, so talking to Tony, she said that's what would be given, but that has not actually been received yet, at least as of August 30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that stands for reason. I just know what the settlement number is.
Okay. So it's just miscommunication between you and Tony then. Quick side note, the city received $2 million for the building fund and $1.2 million for the temporary operations and replacement fund, the latter of which is designed for covering City Hall and PD rentals, replacement of data servers, etc. So while the city has, in fact, received $3.2 million, only $2 million was actually towards the repairs to City Hall. Just to put into context the relative size of this $2.5 million miscommunication,
Hey, that's the name of the show.
that money amounts to 8.4% of the city's 2021 budget when the fire occurred. The other effect this has on the understanding of this issue is when the city spent $1.6 million preemptively on the riverfront property, they didn't spend 35% of the insurance money, they spent 80% of the insurance money on a land purchase that has become ultimately speculative. While this is odd, who really cares? Mistakes happen. As long as the city gets the money, that's all that matters in the end. Which brings us to... Another discrepancy that has emerged is whether or not City Hall was insured on a replacement cost value or actual cash value basis, RCV versus ACV. To explain the difference, here's Mayor Taylor.
A lot of times, like your homes, you can insure them at replacement value. We're part of an insurance pool to lower our yearly costs, annual costs for insurance. So all of our buildings and everybody in the pool is got an actual cash value type. So it's not replacement. So if you don't change your actual cash value, like the pool doesn't do that as regularly as they should, then you're going to get faced with exactly what happened to us. We've got a replacement for City Hall. West Richland built theirs for $10 million, I think, and and truly it's probably too big, and their police station's too big, and I think it was 12. But if that's what one costs, we should have been insuring for that.
To clear things up, here's a cartoon from YouTube.
Replacement cost coverage and actual cash value coverage. Replacement cost coverage can offer compensation for the cost of replacing your stolen, damaged, or destroyed property with a brand new version. For example, if your couch is destroyed in a house fire, replacement cost coverage would reimburse you for the cost of purchasing a comparable new couch. In other words, replacement cost coverage will replace your property without any deduction for depreciation. Actual cash value coverage, on the other hand, can offer compensation for the depreciated value of your stolen, damaged, or destroyed property. This value is determined by the age, condition, and expected remaining useful life of your property. Under this coverage, you wouldn't be reimbursed for the full cost of replacing your destroyed couch. Rather, you would be compensated for the current market value of the couch based on the condition it was in before the fire.
So what does that mean for Prosser? Here's more of my discussion with the mayor.
You had also said that City Hall was insured on an actual cash value basis. That's still your understanding? Okay. The emails from August 2021 from Joel Booth seems to indicate that it is replacement cost, and Tony had told me it was replacement cost, and reading through the policy seems to indicate
Thank you very much.
replacement costs as well. And here's the most recent summary payments she was able to provide me. Let's see. These right here. She didn't know what date these were updated to, but that does have two different numbers there, one for RCV, one for ACV.
So, if we insure the police station for $3.1 million, that's all we're going to get. You're not going to insure it for $3.1 million and get $15 million.
I know this.
Even if you have it as replacement cost, it's not going to happen.
But you were saying it's actual cash value.
It says
3.1 million on a replacement cost basis, and 1.9 on an actual cash value basis.
well, that's terminology, but okay.
What do you mean?
Well, I think this replacement cost is not what you would. It's not like on a house. Okay, even on your house, you're not gonna. If you bring your house down and you're only insuring it for $500,000, they're not gonna replace it for $900,000.
No, they're going to replace it up to $500,000.
Correct.
Right, but
So
it's a difference of especially over here, once you take into account the increased cost of construction that was later added on here. It's a difference of $2 million between replacement costs and actual cash value.
What do you mean?
Right here, the total for RCV by the time you take it into building, increased cost of construction, and then all of the other temporary facilities, inventory, contents, all that, that makes sense. And then ACV is a lower building and then does not have increased cost of construction. The difference between what the city would be receiving between replacement cost value and actual cash value, at least up to date from whenever this was made, is a difference of $2 million.
Who are these people?
Crawford, that's I believe they're the reinsurer. So
Okay.
CIAW program of Clear Risk, and Crawford, I believe, is the reinsurer that Clear Risk.
Have you sat down with Tony and talked to her about these?
The City Hall was insured replacement cost value. I'm going to flash up a few documents here if you'd like to read them yourself. What difference does this make? $2,029,000. Now, this is not a difference of when the city will be paid, but how much the city will be paid. A $2.5 million miscommunication on if the city had received money yet is not nearly as significant as a $2 million misunderstanding of how much the city is yet to receive. As I was researching this, I reached out to Tony Yost to request what documentation the city has to support the claim they will be receiving $4.5 million. She responded by saying it would be in both of our best interests if she requested a summary of payout from Joel Booth. That was back at the beginning of August, and I've yet to receive this summary. Which brings us to our third and final issue. One of the documents I had shown before was from the city's insurance policy, which states, "We will not pay on a replacement cost basis for any loss until the damaged property is actually repaired, and the repairs are made as soon as reasonably possible. If the property is not repaired as soon as reasonably possible, the value of the property will be determined at actual cash value." An endorsement in the policy seems to indicate the time frame the city has to be under contract for repairs is 180 days, which would have been November 6th, 2021. From the documents that have been provided to me, it seems the city only has another $700,000 coming, not $2.5 million. Then again, I'm no finance director or insurance agent, so once again, asking our insurance agent, Mayor.
The $2 million that you've received so far is still within the ACV for the building. So if my concerns are correct, then that would mean that if you were not going to be paid replacement cost value unless that's repaired or contracted whatever terms to be met by insurance, then you'd only have an additional $700,000 coming towards the building fund, not $2 million or 2.5 really is what that is.
So that's really the crux of what we need to confirm. So that's really the crux of what we need to confirm.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I
How
wasn't
much more
able to find in it, because all the policy says is a reasonable time, and it's unclear on what that is. So my question was, has this, I guess, recently been confirmed? And I know this is a better question for Tony. Has this recently been confirmed that that full RCV 4.5 payment is still on the way? I guess if not, what are the terms to make sure that that can actually be acquired? And like I said, when I had reached out to her, she wasn't sure either. She reached out to Joel. He had sent her the summary, and she said there were mistakes on it, and I haven't received it yet. So that's why I want to talk to you.
Well, Tom will help shepherd that through for you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good question, valid question.
An important thing to mention is Mayor Taylor was fully aware this was being recorded as mentioned here.
All right, there we go. All right, so has
This
anyone
is weird,
seen-
by the way, that you're recording and asking questions.
It's what?
It's kind of strange, isn't it?
It's not really. It's basically an interview. I got questions.
Okay.
Wanted to give you the first chance to talk about them before I talk to other people about them, which is what you've been asking other people to do, especially in regards to this chief thing. So, trying to be fair.
Yep.
Just so people know, this was done above board. No one from the city seems to be able to provide any documentation to back up the claims they've made regarding the $4.5 million. Yet, they have had no problem using this figure to support the City Hall bond, except for one place. On the city's own website, they have an information sheet stating the city's insurance provider will provide funds in the amount not to exceed $4.5 million. That is a far cry from having $4.5 million already in the bank. Per the advice of the Mayor and Administrator Tom Glover, I sent Tom an email with these questions. If they have this documentation and the information they've been giving the public is correct, this should be a fairly simple email back. 4 days later, I received a response, delaying me 4 days. Fortunately, after 4 days, I received a response, delaying me 5 days. But then I received a response, delaying me 15 business days. Now, I don't know if I just annoyed the city and this is them retaliating.
That's not me. We don't retaliate.
Oh, wait, that can't be it. So I don't know. Maybe they've got this all nice and tight and they're just busy, but if I had sent a request for information on what's 2 plus 2, I would think I'd get a 4 at least before the election. As it stands, I've been trying to get an answer on how much the city is actually going to be receiving from insurance, and I've been met only with stalls. Perhaps I'm reading too much into this, but if the city has the right to ask you for $16 million and raise their budget 47% over 2 years, you have the right to ask them how much they already have. It is my opinion, they really don't know, and if they do, they're not inclined to share it. To leave you with this, at least one reason the mayor has had poor information regarding this claim.
You know I'm an insurance agent, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you about this.
But just for ethics reasons, I never look at our policy because I sell CIAW also.
Gotcha. I mean, don't you have to approve the policy? I thought you signed the policy.
I oversee it, yes.
Okay.
I don't dig into the details because that would be kind of unfair.
Yeah, that's finance director stuff.
Okay.